What is stress? Stress, we know, causes a lot of emotional disturbance, physical problems. In fact, they say majority of the diseases are caused or influenced by stress. But what is stress actually? Once I was invited to a country to give a seminar, and I wanted a visa for this country. It was a part of an international tour, and I was visiting several countries. I had bought my ticket, and this one visa was stuck up in an embassy in Delhi. Many reasons were given. I spoke to the consul, I spoke to the vice consul. They said, yes, it's coming, it's coming. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks pass, my passport is stuck up, my whole tour is jeopardized, my tickets, my other seminars are at stake. And this passport isn't coming out of that embassy. The time was running out just a week before I was to leave. I can't change the tickets, I can't change the tour. What do I do? This was stress for me. What is stress? If I were to ask myself, what did I experience at that time? I would say I experienced things at different levels. The first was, what was the problem? The name of the problem. It was a visa problem. What were the facts of it? That was another level. The date was coming. I had to think, what is plan A, what is plan B, if I get the visa, if I don't get the visa, if I get the passport. These were thoughts. This was another level. There was a third level, and this level was the emotion. I was feeling angry, I was feeling anxious, my blood pressure was going up, my sleep was disturbed, I was getting physical symptoms out of it. This was another level of experience. But what did I feel at that time? What was I thinking? There was one more level, and that was the level of imagination. Why was this taking so much time? Was there a conspiracy? Was there something else going on which I don't know? So my mind started imagining things. But if you ask me, what was my real experience in all this? There was still one more level, and that level was the level of experience or sensation. In my body and mind, at that time of stress, if I just focused inside, I was experiencing something I cannot describe in words. It was a kind of choking. It was a kind of physical and emotional experience together where the body and mind were expressing it in exactly the same way, a sensation or an experience. And this was accompanied by an energy pattern, a movement, a sound. And that was my another level of experience. And finally, there was a witness to all this. Watching all these levels, the thoughts, the emotions, the facts, the experience, the imagination, and this was the level of the witness. So in my research, I found that we experience anything in all these 7 levels. And this deepest experience is actually our stress. Stress is not coming from the outside world. It's coming from how we experience and how we respond to reality. And when we come to that level, we see a pattern of inner sensation. And that pattern is of 3 types. Let's take a simple example. A girl comes and tells me in my practice, I have disappointment in love. So in homeopathy, we ask her, what is your experience of this disappointment? And we see at her experiential level, there are 3 patterns. At an emotional level, most of them will tell you, I feel sad, I feel upset, I feel betrayed, and so forth. But you ask, what is your experience? The first girl will tell you, I feel shocked. How could this happen? He was talking to me so nicely till yesterday, and today he's off. I am shocked. I feel numb. The second girl will tell you, I was so dependent on this person. He was everything for me. He took decisions for me. He supported me. He was my friend. And now without him, how will I live? And then there is a third pattern. And the girl says, I think he's gone off with another woman. I will first finish her and then I will finish him. So there is another pattern. These are the three distinct patterns that I observed in the deepest experience of individuals. And with a lot of research, I found that these relate to the three kingdoms of nature. The sensitivity and reactivity is like a plant. Why? Because plants are adaptive and reactive. They react to the weather, to the temperature, to the day, to the night, to the moisture, to the seasons. They have to perceive and react. What do minerals do? It's about their capability, their structure, their strength. How much do they have? How much do they not have? What is the power? What is the performance of this metal? What is the strength of this brick, for example? And the third pattern is of the animal kingdom, which is one versus the other, the victim versus the aggressor. And each of us inside has one of these patterns. That's what makes us individual, and that's what makes each one of us perceive and react to stress in that specific way. You can observe it in yourself right now. This is the other song that is playing within you. There is one human song, and then inside you there's an animal song or a mineral song or a plant song. And your whole life is going to be determined like this. What you do, how you think, how you feel, how you talk, how you walk, how you work, how you recreate, depends on what is your other song playing within you. Let me give you a simple example. Here is Taj Mahal. I just put it up and say, what's your feeling about it? Now, each one of you look into yourself and you will see that you fall into one of these patterns. One will say, I'm awestruck at the beauty. Wow, Taj Mahal. Sensation and reaction. This is a plant response. The other will say, oh, what an exact symmetry. Wow, look at that. It's an architectural beauty, beautiful construction. So here is structure and performance. And the third will say, the Taj Mahal just pulls me towards it. It captures me completely. It just traps me in its beauty. Taj Mahal is doing something to me. This response is one versus another, that is animal. And you will see that what your response is, what your pattern is, will be found in every single area of your life. It's something that's imprinted in you. How do we use this in practice? What do we do with, once we know you have this pattern or that pattern, what do we do with it? In homeopathy, we use it. How do we use it? Homeopathy is a system of medicine based on the idea that a remedy will cure what it can cause. So we test remedies from minerals, plants and animals on healthy human beings, and exact symptoms produced by the remedy are recorded in volumes called the Materia Medica. When a patient comes to us, we match his symptoms to the recorded symptoms of various remedies to find an exact match. My research in homeopathy involved not only to look at the symptoms, but the experiential pattern of each individual, and thus I was able to better choose a remedy for the person by going to the appropriate kingdom and not only looking at the symptoms. I want to give you an example. Here is a case of a woman who came with autoimmune hepatitis, and she was advised a liver transplant because the liver was getting affected by this disease and the liver enzymes were really way out of normal. As a last measure, she came for homeopathic treatment, and I asked her the question, as we do in homeopathy, who are you? What is your experience of the illness? And what she said is, ever since I have had this liver disease, I feel restricted. So many limitations are placed on me. I feel as if I'm stuck in a prison. I feel that I'm not able to move out of the house. Now, this language I am able to decode as follows. What do we see as her experience? Restriction, limitation, stuck, cannot move. And every stress in her life produces exactly this experience. She feels just frozen or stuck and she cannot move. What is interesting is we ask about all areas of life and we find exactly the same experience. It's unbelievable. Watch. I asked her, tell me, what dream do you get?
With a statue and hot ekdam, and I'm stiff and I couldn't move from here to here. I used to feel that I'm not moving.
She says she gets a dream as if she's made into a golden statue, and that golden statue, the experience of it is she's stuck, stiff, she cannot move. Based on this experience, we are able to say that she needs a remedy from the plant kingdom because every situation produces a reaction in her, a reaction of frozen and stuck by circumstances. And then we are able to choose from the plant kingdom a very specific plant remedy that has exactly that experience. In this case, it's the poison ivy. Homeopathic remedies are prepared by a process of sequential dilution, and they are so ultra dilute they can have no toxic effects at all. By giving her this remedy in ultra diluted dose of homeopathy, what happened was that she immediately improved. Her appetite, her energy, her weakness, everything was better. And not only that, we find that her basic experience of life, which is that stuckness,
At that time I had a dream that somebody is making me out that putla of metal statue, yeah. So that was stuck, right? That the statue cannot move. So I have become like that.
Right.
That is the binding. Now it is not there. I am normal.
Her basic sensation, her basic experience dilutes and she experiences freedom to be in the moment. What happened to her disease? Complete cure. From her SGPT, which is liver enzyme, which is 880, gradually it's 21. Her serum bilirubin is totally normal, and this is now 10 years ago, and she remains completely normal without any transplant or any other medication whatsoever. I want to talk to you another case of a man with orbital hemangioma. He was seen 13 years ago. What is orbital hemangioma? It's a blood vessel tumor situated just behind the eyeball. Extremely dangerous. If it ruptures, it's a problem. He was advised a surgery that had to cut through his skull, cut through his brain, visualize the tumor and remove it. And when I asked him, tell me, what is the experience of the tumor for you? He says, the experience is one where his eyes are not coordinated with each other because his eye was coming out. And I said, what is the importance for you of this coordination? He says, coordination is the most important thing because he's a performer. His entire ability to perform as a big executive depends on coordination. So everything had to be perfectly coordinated for him.
For instance, I would never have my socks which are not coordinated with my tie. Never. I mean, and that's got nothing to do with my seniority or right down to my underwear. I mean, everything has to be perfectly coordinated.
He says even his underwear has to be coordinated. So I said, tell me more about this. He says, in every area of my life, my hobby is to fly. And what is flying for me is control and performance and coordination. What is my work for me? It's presentation, it's coordination. So that's what he needs, from remedy from mineral kingdom, because his experience is one of needing capability, one of needing control in his performance. He was given the remedy silver nitrate in ultra diluted dose, and then within 2 or 3 months, we can see what happens.
Yesterday, I read my MRI report and I spoke to them. The problem is almost non-existent.
Okay.
It's such a major reduction in the size, almost 90%.
The tumor went nearly 90% in 3 months. And then we see the scan report that say the same thing. But this is not enough. In homeopathy, we need not only the pathology to go, but the person's basic experience to go away. And this is what we saw. This high performer, every single minute of his life, he was so tense, so tense, so tense and in control, completely relaxes. He's wearing a t-shirt and he's on a way to a holiday for the first time after 10 years.
I've been good. I've been enjoying life. And the patients were there. So I think I'm being more patient, more tolerant.
I want to talk about one more case. It's a case of congestive cardiomyopathy. It's a disease of the heart muscle that has no treatment in modern medicine. This man was seen again nearly 20 years ago, and his problem was he's breathless when he's walking, when he's running. He cannot move even a few steps because his ejection fraction, which should be between 55 and 70, is 27. Very, very low. And I asked him, what is the effect of this illness? What's the experience for you? He says, I feel with this illness, I cannot fight. I said, what do you mean by fight? So I need to fight. When I see that there are many people arranged against one man, I go in the support of that victim and I fight. I said, how do you fight against so many people? He says, simple. I just stand there and I say, see, look, you are so many of you. I am just one of me. But the first man who puts his step forward, I will finish him. And he says that keeps the entire crowd at bay and nobody comes close to me. This is typical of the animal kingdom. It's one versus the other. And the remedy he received was ultra dilution of Naja, the cobra. You can imagine how the cobra survives just like this. Come forward and make my day. With this ultra dilution of cobra venom, his reports became completely normal from 27 to 63. He remains totally all right 20 years later, jogging on the beach every day. This is what the idea of stress is. Stress is not from the outside, but from your experience of it. And your experience is an imprinted pattern. That pattern mirrors a plant, mineral or animal. With the appropriate homeopathic remedy from the appropriate kingdom and subkingdom, which also matches the symptoms of the patient, the internal pattern diminishes. You react to reality as reality is and not from your pattern. You experience freedom to be in the moment, and when you are free, then you become an instrument of the universe that acts through you. That is health. And it is that health that I wish for all of us and for this planet. Thank you.